Hey guys, it's Wes. Hope you are doing great today. We're going to do an update on FEG. You guys know I've been covering FEG for a little while and kind of all the other burn tokens. In this video, I'm going to give you some updates, some new things that have happened, and just some of my overall thoughts as an investor in the FEG project. I'm going to tell you what I think, what's good, what I'm a little confused on, and where I think the future is going. So big stuff here. Also have some new things to show you in FEG as well. So stay tuned. Really cool things to talk about. I don't want you to miss this. It's all coming up right after this. All right, my friends, Wes Spencer back at you again. Thank you for spending some time with me today as we talk about FEG. Now, if you don't know what FEG is, and this is the first time you've heard me talk about it, you should probably just time out, pause this video, and go watch that one right there. That is a link to my original review of FEG. And let's talk about just quickly and recap what these things are. I call them burn tokens. Think of them as deflationary tokens that most of them have some mechanics in them that are all very similar. So a lot of these are created on Ethereum or on Binance coins as a token. They have usually a very high amount in the billions, trillions, or even in quadrillions like FEG. And a bunch of them are burned right away. So like you look at FEG, there was 100 quadrillion created. Immediately, half of them were burned. Why? I mean, they could have just started with 50 quadrillion. Well, it just helps the hype cycle, right? It just makes it more fun. They're also known for giving to charity. And the vast majority of them are known for being really going nowhere, and many of them even being fraudulent. Now, why is that? That is because it is very, very easy to set up one of these burn tokens. It's not hard to copy the contracts from a previous one and then just turn it into your own with some marketing. Now, how do I know that? There's a couple different ways I know that. One is I have been hit up by lots and lots of these projects, and normally I just tell them no, I'm not super interested in them because there's so many of them. How do we actually evaluate a useful one that may go somewhere, and one that may fall apart? It's difficult to know. And also keep in mind, guys, this is extremely speculative stuff. So like only get involved with what I'm about to show you if you're okay with a lot of speculation and a good chance everything you put into something may just go away. There's a good chance with a lot of these. FEG is a little different though, because I do think FEG has some potential and it's very, very innovative in doing some things that catch my eye and have from the beginning. The second way that I know a lot of these burn tokens are no good and may even be fraudulent rug pulls where, you're offered something and then, the devs say, hey, we have no access to it anymore. And then it gets pulled from under you and you no longer have the tokens you think, and it's a big cash grab. There is a website that in one of my upcoming videos, I am going to release. In fact, I might even just do it as a YouTube live in case anyone wants to just hang out with me sometime soon, and we'll just go through that site. It's an interesting site to go into to just get a picture into what might be real and what might be fraudulent with all of these burn tokens coming up. And guys, I'm not joking. There's literally hundreds of these that have come out to the market. Okay, so now that I've said all that and I've given you my warning, this is very, very, very speculative. This is not easy to do for a lot of this. If you're a newbie into crypto, DYOR, do your own research on all of this. And also, if you don't know, I did a video where I covered how I evaluate a cryptocurrency. It's right here if you want to go see that. That's got some interesting metrics that I use to kind of gauge and judge a cryptocurrency project. And I want to talk about some of those things with you right now because I think some of them are pretty helpful. I've got my notes right here. So first thing I look for is transparency. Well, when you think about FEG does have a lot of transparency. The devs are pretty open. You can talk to them. There's been some audits on the network by multiple different parties. Doesn't mean it's foolproof. And nothing really is, but it's helpful to see the transparency. So they get a check mark there. Now, founder credibility gets a big, I don't want to put it a thumbs down. I'm just going to put it as a question mark. Why? Because we don't actually know who they are. You can talk to them, but we don't know exactly who those people are. They haven't put their name behind what they're building. And that's usually a red flag or just an item of concern. Third thing is funding or runway. Now, a lot of these burn tokens don't really need this. So this is kind of, I'm just going to put a question mark, but really in truth, it's not a runway's not needed for this. Like, it's not like it takes a huge team to build these burn tokens. A lot of the community grassroots efforts are sufficient on top of the devs kind of building the project, running the code itself. FEG's a little different because they have some very cool things running, which I'm going to show you. So that gets a question mark. Product market fit. Okay, so I told you on my video, that's a very difficult one oftentimes in crypto. Let's be honest, a lot of these burn tokens, there's not a ton of utility to them, at least not yet, not compared to some of the bigger overarching projects that are doing some really cool things, and that's okay. This is speculative. It's meme-based for the most part. It's kind of like crypto's version of GameStonk. You know what I'm talking about there. So that gets, again, a question mark. There's really no truth to this. I'm not going to give it a thumbs down because it's not like it's directly violating some kind of like product market fit or like clearly a scammy kind of thing. Usually I'll give a thumbs down on something if I feel like it's really almost scammy in what it's trying to do. And I don't think FEG is doing that. I think they're just having fun with the project itself and building a ton of users and building in some utility as we go along. And then the last thing is outside credibility. They do get a thumbs up on this one because, as I'll show you in just a minute, there is a lot of audit data that's come back from the community, and I think that's a good thing. So what does all that boil down to with FEG's final rating for me? It boils down to this. Am I telling you that it's going to blow up into the stratosphere and give you a moon Lambo? No. Am I telling you that it's something you should stay away from? Also, no. I'm having fun with it. And if you want to have fun with it, do it. Just remember my number one rule. Never invest more than you're willing to lose. That's the big thing with this. Don't go put a second mortgage on your home, put it all into FEG, unless you are totally on the ape train, my friends. Otherwise, wouldn't recommend that, but go have some fun with it because I know I am. Okay, so enough about all that. Let's jump into the project itself. So I showed you the last time FEGtoken.com when I first did my review of this and kind of walked through a lot of the things. A lot of new stuff has happened. One is, you should know this by now, but if you're new, this is news to you. FEG is now available not just on Ethereum through Uniswap, but also on Pancake via the Binance coin. Now, why is that? Because ETH has very high gas costs because of its low transaction volume and difficulty of scale. We're waiting for ETH2 to fix a lot of that. Binance is kind of neat. If you are in Binance coin, you have some, great way to buy. I would much more recommend you to buy through Binance than Ethereum right now, just because of the savings on gas fees. And so just be aware of that. If you decide to go buy, check your fees all the way through, because if you've never bought Ethereum, you're gonna have fees there. And if you're going to move it to Uniswap, fees there with MetaMask. If you're going to buy some FEG, fees there. So before you know it, you can get feed into oblivion just because of Ethereum being really, really high right now. We're in a high bull market, ATH, all-time highs, or close to it with Ethereum at the time of this video. So it's just a hard time to be in Ethereum. So I would recommend checking out Binance and buying through that. But here it is. This video, I'm not going to do a guide on how to buy them. I already showed you how to do that with Ethereum on Uniswap on my last video. If you want to know more about how to buy it in Pancake, I can, and I'm open to making another video review on that specifically as well. All right, so I'm going to scroll down, just some updates here as far as what's been burnt, what's circulating. So there's 42 quadrillion FEG in circulation, 44 quadrillion on the BSC side, Binance side. Now, what does that mean? If you didn't watch that earlier video on FEG, it's really hard to conceive how much a quadrillion is. If we took pennies and we stacked them up all the way up to like the Sears Tower in New York, it would cover an entire city block. Just one quadrillion of pennies stacked up. So that gives you an idea how big a quadrillion is. So there's still a lot of volume to go. Now, you know, one of the key components of burn tokens are there's a burn mechanism on every transaction, and different tokens have different amounts. I've seen some as high as 20%. Anyway, so just keep in mind, we got a long way to go for this thing. This is why I'm a diamond hands kind of guy. Just be aware of there's tons of capital and plenty of room for everybody. Now, what's new is the FegEX, the actual FEG Exchange. And I think that is really, really cool. I'm going to show that to you in a minute. There's a lot of data where they talk about all of this. To keep this video from getting too technical, I'm not going to dive into a bunch of it. I do want to cover this right here as far as the pairs go. One nice thing about trading through FEG Exchange is the fees will be lower. And you can see this right here. It's using their FRAP stuff, and it's a fair amount cheaper for all of us. So that's good. Same with the smart swap technology. It kind of goes hand in hand. Liquidity pools are coming out, which we'll cover that later in another video if you guys are interested and want me to. So another thing here, they talk about this front-running bot protection. I don't know if you know what this is. It's something that really aggravates me, and I have another video coming up sometime soon on a brand new token that I've been exploring. I have some friends involved in the project that is specifically trying to eliminate front-running bot protection or offer front-running bot protection. And here's the idea behind this. On Uniswap especially, there's a lot of people that have bots that are looking for big trades. And when a big trade is coming in, a big sell, a big buy, they get in front of it by offering a higher gas fee to get importance on the blockchain and basically get in front of that big move. So they see a bunch of buys that are going to happen, they get in before there. They see a big sell is going to happen, they do a big sell before that occurs, right? So they're always at the top or the bottom, whichever way the market's going. And personally, I don't like it. Average traders like you and me are going to get burned on that. And so there are new ways that are being explored to stop this front running. And so apparently FEG has some plans with that, which I think is awesome. I'm a big fan of that. I can't wait to see what comes out with all that. I don't know enough about how that's all going to work. Okay, so let's jump into a couple other things I wanted to show you. One is the audit. I did show you the war on rugs audit. Look, one commenter on one of my other videos said, hey, he's not always right. And they're right. These guys are not always right. Just because you have a clean audit doesn't mean a mistake was not made. I know this from my banking background. I go through audits on an annual basis, and sometimes they find things that don't matter. Sometimes they don't find things they really should have found, right? That's just the reality of audits. But they do give us some amount of independent introspection into what's going on. So you can see some data and details. And I do wish this audit had some more information on what the owners can and can't do through all of this. A lot of the other audit reports, I've seen more attention to that part of the code base. But a fair amount of this is just, is the contract written correctly? Are there any kind of like vulnerabilities or issues or problems in the contract? And that is important because we've seen in some cases, poorly written contracts can be exploited by bad guys. It happens. It is no bueno, and we want to stay away from that. So anyway, check the audit out if you want to see more on your own. Other thing I wanted to show you was the actual FEG Exchange. And this is pretty cool. It's been out for a little over a month now. And this is a neat way for us to get some information on FEG. This is a great way to buy, especially because the fees are going to be lower through the exchange. And we're going to come back to this, but look at this. Spotted something you may not be aware of. And a friend of mine on a different channel reached out and let me know this. See this guy down here, RICHbsc? That's not FEG. That is a different project. Now, what does that mean? FEG has said from the beginning that their exchange is not only going to be always for FEG, they want to offer other tokens. We now have evidence of this other token. What is that token? What do I think about that token? I'm going to cover it at the end of this video. So stay tuned. We'll get to that, but just pause on that one. And that's my little teaser to the end of the video. You can see how all of this works, right? So I can say, hey, look, I have some ETH and I want to change that over. In fact, you can see my MetaMask account is already connected. So I could max that out, which I don't have enough to do anyway. And then I could change it to FEG ETH, for example. Then I can use that to make my transactions. Or if I already have some FEG ETH, I can then use it to change it back into some FEG itself. So this is basically what this exchange is doing. It's not super intuitive at this point for newbies, but it's just a cheaper way to change between FEG ETH, ETH itself, or on the Binance side doing the same things. And this all comes into a little bit more clarity when you look at the second option that FEG Exchange has, which is staking. So staking is pretty interesting here. When you click on stake, what you can do is you can choose what pair that you want to do. So let's say I happen to own some FEG ETH, which I do. I'm going to hit select on this, and it brings up the amount of FEG that I have. And I have the ability now to make a transaction. That's kind of interesting, right? So I could max this out, or I could just say, I'm going to do this with you. Let's just say I want to, let's say I'm going to stake 1 billion, okay? What I can do is I can put that amount in, I can hit add, and this won't show up for you on my OBS, but a new window's coming open with MetaMask, and it's asking me if I want to confirm the transaction. And again, this gets back to my frustrations with Ethereum right now. This transaction is going to cost me $10.38. Do I really want to do this transaction? I know you can't see it on the video, but I'm looking at it. You know what? YOLO, why not? Right? I told you from the beginning, I'm doing FEG for you guys, for the fun of it. for grins and giggles. So I'm going to hit confirm on this, and we're going to let that guy go through, and we're just going to see what happens. And I might do another future video update on what that looks like, but that's going to take some time for it to go through and confirm. So there you have it. So it's kind of interesting seeing how the staking works. If you're curious and you want to know more about the staking itself, the FEG team produced this document right here. I'll put it in the description down below so you can see some more information on it, but they show you how to do the staking, which I kind of showed you right here. You select your staking type, what you're doing, how much, you click add, you're going to confirm it in MetaMask, and then there you go. And if you want to look at the details, one thing I wish the FEG team would like show this on their website a little bit more clearly is it better just to hold right now and just take the rewards by holding from the burn mechanism, or is it better to stake? Well, right here they talk about this. They say FEG stakers can earn 0.12% of all sells on all FegEX pairs from the blockchain that you're staked on. That's kind of cool. It may not sound like a lot, but as FEG's community base and user base grows, that can really, truly grow. So I think it's pretty interesting. So I'm going to stake some just to experiment, see what I think. The others of you that are claiming to do a lot more, I've heard some people say it's really working well for them. I can't speak to that personally. Do your own research and kind of figure out what you want to do with that. Okay, so that is FegEX itself. The rest of this, I mentioned this a little bit on the front of their website, the liquidity, bridge, and wrap stuff is not available yet. I may or may not cover that in a future video, just depending on the level of interest you guys have and I have for all of this. So kind of nice to see what's going on here, and kind of nice to see what's happening in this FEG world. And I think it's kind of interesting. So another thing I wanted to show you is, if you saw this in the front of their website, they also have this faucet. Now let's talk about the faucet, because a lot of people have misunderstood and are making mistakes on the faucet. So the faucet is, I think once a day, there's FEG that's produced into this faucet and you can claim it. But my understanding of this, I need someone to correct me if I'm wrong on this. My understanding is this only happens once a day and it's first come, first serve. So notice that right now, there's 0 FEG in the faucet. And if you go here, don't be a dummy and say, cool, it's a FEG faucet, I'm interested, and then you hit the green claim button. I'm just going to click it and see how much MetaMask wants to charge me, and it's $3 to go through the transaction. Do I want to pay $3 to claim 0 FEG? No, my friends, I do not want to do that. That would be a huge mistake. Why? Simply because I get nothing out of it. So I don't really fully understand the FEG faucet itself. If it's first come, first serve, only one person gets it. I guess it's kind of like a lottery. Are you the one that luckily looked at it and it's enough FEG to where it's worth it to you to pay the fees? I don't know. Personally, I'm not going to use it. I have no interest in the faucet, at least as it stands right now. So if you're using the faucet or you're aware of its roadmap of where it's going, let me know, because as I see it, I think it's just once a day and first come, first serve. So you're probably, as big as the FEG community is now, probably you can almost always see it at 0. So that's just my view on the whole thing. Last thing I wanted to talk about. You guys remember this? I said at the beginning, over here on the exchange, there was a brand new token, this RICHbsc thing. So we know it's a Binance coin, and we know it's called Rich. If you Google RICHbsc, at least at the time of this video, you're going to find nothing. So what the heck is that thing? I'm going to show you. Right here is a tweet. This is from the FEG team themselves, and this is announcing this thing called Richie. The FEG team says Richie is a flamboyant, good at heart, lives life lavishly, and belongs to Planet Rich. His best friend, Billion. Who's Billion? I'm going to click on this so you can see it together, and it takes us here to this Telegram site. I'll put a link to the Telegram site in my description down below, but let me just say this. A couple people have reached out to me on this project, and I think I'm interested in it. I'm going to look at it. I probably will buy some on my own. Again, just YOLO lifestyle, why not? You look at the check mark buttons on this, it's even more question marks compared to FEG. I do know that to some degree, the FEG team, like FegRocks, one of the major developers, has been involved in FEG. They actually were the ones that helped audit the token. You can see that in some of the communication in the Telegram channels. So I know they're somewhat involved, but I don't know much more about it. So understand me. Let me be clear on this. I've already told you when it comes to all these burn tokens, FEG in particular, SafeMoon, the rest of them, they are very, very, very speculative. So I am not putting my stamp of approval and saying, go buy them. I'm not saying that. I'm only saying if you're willing to take a risk like me, just know you're taking a risk. If I said that about FEG, I'm saying that big time about Rich. I think Rich or Richie is a cool idea. It's innovative. I love seeing that it is the first token involved inside of the FEG exchange. I think and I hope we see additional new ones come through here. I think that's a really cool thing and it makes me interested in it, but I'm not saying to you, go buy it. I'm not saying it's going to the moon. I'm just saying be careful and DYOR. Do your own research on that bad boy because that is really, really important on that one. So again, there is the community. There's already 1,700 members. I have hopped in it. I have looked around. I have seen a lot of communication going forth. If you jump in it, look at the starred and saved messages because that'll give you kind of an idea of what's going on. And hey, if you join, tell them, hey, Wes sent me. Wes is not endorsing it. He's just saying, hey, go check it out. I think it's interesting simply because it's on the FEG network itself. So there you have it, my friends. That is kind of an update. The last thing I thought I would share with you is how I've been doing with FEG because I think that's kind of important. So I've put in over time about $1,000 in FEG, maybe actually closer to $1,200. I'm going to show this to you. There is my FEG wallet right there. I'm at about $2,500. You can see that in the middle of the screen. So I'm at about $2,500. So I kind of doubled, which is good. I've actually seen it as high as almost $4,000. If you go and check the FEGTrack app, and by the way, there's a link for that on their website, that will tell you the ups and downs, and you will see just how speculative and volatile this market is. So again, it should go into your DYOR component of, am I okay with that? Am I going to try to day trade and swing this thing? I wouldn't recommend it because of high gas fees. Or you can try and buy and hold, and you're just going to have to risk, man, I put $1,000 in, $1 in, whatever it is you put, and all of a sudden seeing that number just tank for a while and go under the value and then come back up, only see it go down again. Welcome to the world of crypto, but even more so in these speculative burn token markets. All right, my friends, I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned some things. I know this one was technical. I know this one's a little bit more nerdy than I always get, but I hope this gives you some insight. I am having fun in the burn token, deflationary token world. I think it's a lot of fun. I don't see a ton of utility for all of this yet, but I like the journey. I like the innovation, and I like the interest and the fun that I'm seeing out of all of it. I hope you guys like this. I hope you've enjoyed the video. And one last thing you could do, just as a thank you back to me, would you hit the subscribe button, bell icon, and the like button? All of those things help me. It helps me with the algorithm and helps me getting my reach out as far and wide as I can. All right, guys, thank you so much. You know how much I appreciate you. Leave me some comments. Can't wait to talk to you guys soon. Thanks.